Society seems to believe that gun owners are a lot like this guy from The Wizard of Oz, which is why they can't even go shopping without having their firearms with them. And I get why people think this. This rhetoric is very common in our society. It's seen everywhere, in memes, in movies, in comic books, and even among other academics. One of the earliest pieces of pop culture that tried to link guns and cowardice is Batman #1 from 1940. In that issue, he says, and I quote, "Crooks are yellow without their guns," and yellow at the time was a synonym for being afraid. And Batman has kept this message very consistently over the course of his entire publication run, even in modern day. This is most famously seen in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, where he says a gun is a liar's weapon, a coward's weapon. So yeah, pretty consistent messages across all of pop culture and in academic spaces, but is it actually true? Well, researchers from Florida State University and the University of Arizona wanted to find out if this was true. Are gun owners irrational cowards? And so to answer that, we took data from the Chapman Survey of American Fears, which is the largest data set on phobias collected in the United States. And in one of their waves, they asked questions about gun ownership. And to answer this question, we ran two very different types of analyses that were based on two very different theoretical frameworks. So let's talk about them. First was the symptomatic perspective. So are guns a symptom of fear? In other words, does fear lead to gun ownership? And then there's the palliative perspective. Do guns mitigate fear? In other words, do guns work like a security blanket and make a person feel safer? And what we found is that gun owners tend to have fewer fears than non-gun owners. So gun owners are less afraid than non-gun owners. Now, these findings were driven by three distinct measures within our scale for phobia. First, gun owners are less afraid of heights than non-gun owners. Gun owners are also less afraid of animals than non-gun owners. Now, before I mention the third one, I just want to point out these first two actually make perfect sense, even the heights, which may not be an immediate click. Hunters often sit up in blinds up in the top of trees to watch for prey. In particular, think about deer hunting. So you would have to be okay with heights in order to be 20, 30 feet up in the air for that type of, hunting. And a lot of people buy weapons to deal with pests or animals on their farms or to hunt with. So again, these two make perfect sense, but I have to ask you about this third one. What is going on here? And the third one, which immediately causes me to have questions, is that gun owners are less afraid of zombies than non-gun owners. Like, are we watching The Walking Dead way too much or what? And all that being said, I was just as surprised about my findings as you probably are. Because despite being a gun owner myself, I know a lot of people who own guns, and I would argue that they only own them because they are afraid. And a part of me was kind of disappointed that I didn't find this association. One of the phobias in our scale was a fear of clowns, and just picture it if I had found this association. This paper would have been titled, "I'm Not McLoving It," and I would have started every conference presentation with just a random picture of Ronald McDonald and no context. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments.